Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about Cabaret in Flames by Hache Pueyo. Cabaret in Flames is the story of Ariadne, a doctor to ghouls, this sort of flesh-eating parallel species with humanity. It's a vampire story. We've got flesh eaters, we've got, not bloodsuckers, but we've got this sort of secretive, but also playing with the maybe not so secretive. There are definitely more people in the know of our, vampiric figures, and these ghouls, they can only biologically process human flesh, so there's some interesting play with that there, this idea of balancing being an obligate predator and an obligate carnivore, and how to be ethical. So we've got, some of these ghouls who have spent centuries mostly eating slavers and fighting in revolutions. We've got characters who were members of the Red Army during World War II, and that sort of thing. So really fun playing with that, while also not shying away from some really heavy issues. Just, be aware if this is something that could be troubling for you, that there is some pretty frank discussion of childhood sexual assault in this book. I'm not generally a content advisory person per se, but I do just want to make folks aware that that is sort of a core part of this, and something that I thought, we're very celebratory here on Bar Cart Bookshelf, and that's maybe just a bit above in terms of weightiness what we usually do here on Bar Cart Bookshelf, because we're, making fun little fruity cocktail drinks. And then I thought, well, it's such an excellent book, and it would be a disservice to these narratives that I think are really important to share and to have as a part of our literary landscape and as part of our speculative literary landscape, to just say, oh, well, this is a topic that we can't really deal with here on Bar Cart Bookshelf. And so just be aware that this is sort of a fundamental part of the story, and dealing with the fact that this is an obligation to predation that has the real sort of depths of darkness at the core of that, but handled in really profound and thoughtful ways. So, as I have said, this is the story of Ariadne. She is sort of an apprentice doctor to these vampiric ghouls, these flesh eaters, and about 5 years or so ago, her mentor, Eric, vanished, and she's been carrying on this medical practice alone. When we begin our novel, an old acquaintance, an old friend of Eric's comes. Quaint. He is an ancient ghoul from the Ming, born in the Ming Dynasty. His mother is still alive, so this gives you a sense of some of the antiquity of these ghouls. And he comes to her curious about Eric's whereabouts, and this leads them into this exploration of the Ghoul Society and the mystery plot, which ties in to her own discomfort with this sort of co-species that she's got her livelihood tied around to. It's a really thorny knot of emotions in a way that packs a lot into a slim package. It is a novella. And as longtime viewers of Bar Cart Bookshelf will know, I have a great fondness for Brazilian speculative fiction. I, always love to read more. Last summer we talked about Renan Bernardo's Disgraced Return of the Cap's Needle, and I'm really so happy to have read Cabaret in Flames. Looking forward to reading more. If you have recommendations, I am always happy to hear about them. But as I said, it's a very heavy, emotional novella. in this sort of sun-drenched Brazil, in nightclubs, in hotels, in, with interpolations of notebooks and memories and dreams and news programs. It really plays with the idea that we're receiving all of these sorts of inputs of information and of media at all times while we're engaging with what we're doing in our day-to-day life and in our exploration of the mystery. Really clever stuff that I think works super well in the novella format. We love a novella here on Bar Cart Bookshelf. And so, of course, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the Cabaret, named for this Gaulle nightclub that features prominently in the novella, and we are going to begin with 1.5 ounces of cachaça. I love cachaça. It is a Brazilian-made sugarcane spirit. Oh, I open it right up, a sort of rum, and I get this wonderful, vanilla sweetness, but also the distinctive grassiness. That's what's really definitional for cachaça, is this wonderful, fresh, verdant quality to that sugarcane spirit, to that rum, that cuts through everything else. And we're going to get 1.5 ounces of that into our glass. And it's about time for me to get some more of this beautiful Nova Fogo. And I like the silver cachaça, the unaged. I think it's just so fresh, so green. The classic is Caipirinha, and what we'll have today is sort of a riff on that classic, because there's just something about a sugarcane spirit, lime, and a sweetener that makes the heart sing every time. So we'll get 1.5 ounces of our silver cachaça into our mixing tins, and then we will add 3/4 ounce of lime juice, get that brightness in there. And finally, we will add our sweeteners, and we're going to start with 1/2 ounce of guava puree. Just get that on down in there. We have this dream memory that Ariadne has of a guava tree, and it's just so lovely and tropical and pink and just so sensory. I love guava as we head, into deeper spring, into summer, and so that's going to bring a lot of depth and a little sneasel. And then we will add 1/4 ounce of lime cordial. Lovely. And this lime cordial is made with lime peel, sugar, and lime juice. It is a great way to preserve limes or to use all of the lime. Because we've got the lime oil from the peel in there, it's got a greater depth of flavor than just ordinary lime juice, and much greater depth of flavor than, for example, the Roses lime cordial that you can find at the grocery. I have a recipe for how to make this in my book, Cocktails and Consoles. I really love it for its ability to bring that citrus zing, that sweetness of the sugar, but also that real depth of flavor. And I think that really ties in nicely with the real depth of the emotional journey that we're going on here in Cabaret in Flames. Then we will add a couple of dashes, again for this touch of complexity, of Peychaud bitters. These are an aromatic bitters, is sort of anise, rosehip, pink and lightly herbal. 1, 2, 3, 4. I really like these. These are my favorite bitters, probably. They add just a wonderful, again, bit of complexity and depth of flavor to our Cabaret, and they'll add that bit of color as well. And then finally, because it is Cabaret in Flames, we've got to have a bit of heat in here, so we're going to add a bar spoon of hot chili tincture. Lovely. And just bring that bit of heat, that bit of extra depth, that extra punch to the drink, because this really is, one of those, you ride right along and pow, 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 like weighty, but also really engaging and propulsive sorts of things going on here over the course of the novella. So we've got all of our ingredients in our mixing glass. We're going to add our ice last. We always add our ice last. Just some crushed ice down in there, because we never know when we're going to get called away from our workstation, and we wouldn't want to come back to a watery cocktail. That would just be so disappointing. So we get our ice in there and shake it up, wake it up. Perfect. Nice frosty freezy there on the tins. We'll take a glass here, and because we want it to be this lovely crushed ice style, we'll just pour that directly into the glass, like so. Perfect. And there you have it. This is the Cabaret, inspired by Cabaret in Flames by Hache Pueyo. A huge thank you to the publisher Tor.com for sending me a copy of this novella for review. It's one that had been on my radar and that I had such a great time with. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below, as well as a link to purchase my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails to Level Up Your Game Night. If you are looking to make the lime cordial, we've got the recipe in there. Got a link to purchase Shatter the Sun, the latest anthology from Neon Hemlock. I've got a short story out in that called The Peacock Wizard in the Cave of the Serpent Queen. I think folks who like what we do here on Bar Cart Bookshelf are really going to dig that one as well. Got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. We've got some really great books that we're going to be talking about here through May, into June, July, through the whole deep spring and summer, and I'm so excited to share them with all of you as we head towards our 5-year anniversary here on Bar Cart Bookshelf coming July 6th. Something really exciting there that I'll be so thrilled to celebrate with all of you lovely viewers out there. And until next time, cheers.